Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Studio. Today I'm joined by the lovely Sheila Halliwell, who's going to show us this beautiful butterfly card using an X-cut die to add stenciling to her project. Hi Sheila, welcome along.
Hello.
You've got a beautiful butterfly card to show us today, haven't you?
Yes, we're going to be using the X-cut filigree die.
Oh, lovely. It's beautiful, isn't it? Right, what's first?
Okay, so first of all, I've taken an A5 card blank and we're going to use it as a landscape card. And I've taken one of the 12 by 12 sheets from the craft collection and I've actually cut the fringed sections off the end and we're going to apply those around the edge to create a frame.
These are incredible, aren't they? It's like it's real, isn't it? Until you touch it, obviously, then you know it's paper, but it looks like an amazing real piece of hessian.
It does. And if you get the 6x6 pack and put those on a 6x6 card, they fit perfectly, and it's just so nice to have that kind of tattered edge around.
Beautiful, lovely.
So we've taken 4 strips, and what I'm going to do, put tape on the back. I'm going to place one. So we'll use this one for the top one actually, and I'm going to place that along the edge like that. And then we're going to press that down and we're going to trim off the excess. And now we're going to take one of our other pieces and we're going to trim a corner section so that they'll meet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to take my pencil and just do a little point here. Like that. And then we're going to repeat that on this side. And then we have our little frayed frame. So the next thing to do is to apply a piece of this lovely gingham paper from the same collection. And we're going to place that onto the card so that the fringes show around the edges. I've already put the tape on, so we can just take off the backing and we can stick that into position.
Love it.
Okay, so we've got that on there, and you probably noticed I put a piece of tape along the back as well because we're going to put a central section on there with some card that's going to have a little bit of weight. That'll just give a bit more support for that panel. Okay, so our next step, we've taken a piece of the paper that we used to cut the fringes from.
Okay.
And we've matted it onto a piece of white textured card, and then I'm going to cut the butterfly out from that actual panel.
Okay.
And then once that's cut, we're going to put another butterfly back into there, but it'll be a white butterfly.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll just line that up quite centrally, and we'll put that on the side of the machine where the pressure is greater, and then we place the cutting plate on top, and we'll take that through the machine. Okay, so now we've cut our butterfly out. Because I only added a little bit of tape around the edge, it means when I've cut that now, I've got 2 pieces. So I can use that brown butterfly for something else, and the white one is going to go back inside here. And we're going to put that onto a piece of blue so we have contrast showing through from underneath.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we'll do that first, and we'll apply that with some tacky glue because we've got all these little tiny pieces that we need to stick down. Tacky glue will work well on this, so we'll just get that going. And so I'm going to make sure that the white section is glued down first, and then I can glue any little pieces that are lifting from the front.
Okay.
Just so that we make sure we've got everything in place. So we will put that onto there, make sure it's nice and even, with the blue showing around the edge. Press that in place. So the white areas are going to stick down, like that, and then we can actually add a little more glue to these areas here so that the brown will stick down there as well.
Good stuff.
Okay, so once that's stuck in place, what we're going to do now, we're going to take our butterfly die and we're going to put our butterfly back onto there.
Okay.
Now you can push it so that it sits back within the actual cutting frame. And so we just ease that in. Like that. When you're confident that you've got it in roughly in place, you turn it over. And we've done this with textured cards. So what we're going to do now is take some red pigment ink and we're going to add it to some of our stamp pad foam. And then we're going to almost stencil through the bits that we can see are open.
That's very clever.
and then that gives us some nice red patches on the butterfly.
Good
So
stuff.
we can now peel our die away from that.
Beautiful.
Okay. And so now what we'll do, we'll bring in our little tray again. I'm going to shake some of the clear powder over the top. And obviously the ink stays wet with it being pigment ink, so it means it will hold the powder, and then we can melt it to get that nice shiny texture.
That's such a lovely delicate die, isn't it?
It's a beautiful die, and even the pieces that come out of the die, so that the negative section is beautiful as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to heat this up now, and then we can watch that turn shiny. Now you can see that we've got kind of glossy elements on the butterfly.
That looks beautiful.
And now we can put that back inside here, like that. And the blue shows through, but we've still got that nice contrast with the white and the red and the brown as well.
Stunning.
So we glue the butterfly in there, and then that can be drying while we go on to our next step. So again, use your tacky glue and just make sure you get it around the edges and on those little tiny cut areas that are quite detailed. We can pop that into there, and it fits almost like a jigsaw puzzle. So we can pop that to one side now so that will dry.
Lovely.
And then we can go on to our next step. So what we need to do now is we need to use the butterfly as a stencil.
Okay.
So rather than stencil onto the actual butterfly through the die, we're going to stencil through these areas on a piece of white card, and we're just going to create a kind of an identical pattern around the edge, and we're going to use the red ink again and some clear powder so that we get that shiny effect to match with the butterfly panel. Now I've cut this butterfly from thicker card because we're going to be moving it around and applying ink. So this is from just a piece of 300 GSM card blank.
Okay.
And I've cut that obviously from the card blank, and you then use the card blank for something else.
Of course.
So there's no waste. So again, put your sponge onto the ink pad and grab some of that pigment ink. Now we're just going to do this randomly, and we're actually going to just ink over the top of the butterfly.
Okay.
Like that, just to create a kind of pattern. And you don't need to cover the whole sheet because we're only going to be having a little bit of an edging showing.
Oh, okay.
So we can just hold that down. Okay, so now we've come to the end section here. So, and it doesn't have to be neat because our panel is going to sit over the top, so you won't see a lot of the inky sections inside. So now we need to do is just add some clear powder. Just shake that over the top, and then all the way around. And because we've done a big area, I'm going to put the powder all over it straight away because I don't want the ink to dry.
No.
Okay, so now you can see we've got shiny sections on the edge of there as we turn it. And now we can add our panel on. Then you can see how that just reflects the butterfly.
Yeah, that's lovely.
So we'll put some double-sided tape on there, and we're using the stick it tape again, which is quite strong. So we'll put a length along each edge, and then we can stick that in position and place it centrally onto there. And just press that firmly in place.
Oh yeah, that looks lovely.
And then that is ready to stick onto our card.
Beautiful.
So now we can bring the card in, and we're going to pop this onto here. Now we're going to take it slightly that way because we want to add some buttons along the edge.
Okay.
And we'll do some across the middle as well, just for some extra support. Check the card is the right way up.
Oh, we've all done that as well.
We've all made upside down cards, haven't we? And so while that's drying, we're going to stamp a greeting.
Oh, good.
So to match the card, obviously I've made a little panel using white card onto brown, onto blue, onto white, so it kind of reflects what we've already done. And then we're going to use brown dye ink this time. So rather than the pigment ink, you could emboss it if you wanted to, but I thought we would just keep this with a matte finish.
Now, this is one of the urban stamps, isn't it, that partners up with the craft collection,
Yes,
isn't it?
it is. A lovely collection again. Some really pretty stamps. Okay, so we'll attach this with, again, a piece of our 3D foam tape. And we can pop this onto the bottom of the card. Then we've got 3 little blue buttons, which we're going to add. So we're going to pop these down the side. So we're going to do a blob of glue there, and one there, and one there. Turn them so that all the buttonholes are the right way. Let those dry, and the tacky glue will dry clear, so even if your glue shows through, it will dry clear.
Yeah,
and then the last little thing to do, we've tied 2 pieces of the craft collection ribbon together. You'll see that on that side it's just red, but if you turn it over, when you tie it, you can actually make it so that the blue shows through. So we've got like a 2-tone bow.
Makes it a little bit more special, doesn't it? Really,
yeah.
like that.
And a nice big blob of tacky glue again, and then we can place that on the bottom there and let that dry.
So that's very nearly our finished card, isn't it? But I know you've just got one more little sort of piece you've done here, haven't you?
Yes, so the pieces that originally came out of the body, you can also glue those back in if you want the body to be brown like we've done here.
I see, yeah.
Just glue those back in place and you'll have a nice brown body as well.
Beautiful. It's fantastic. What a lovely card. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really wonderful.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed Sheila's project, why not leave us a comment? We'd love to hear what you think about In the Studio. If you're after some more inspiration, why not pick up docrafts Creativity magazine? There's loads of projects for all tastes, including lots of projects using X-cut dies. And if you have been crafting, why not upload your own projects to docrafts.com? We'd love to see what you've been up to. Until next time, happy crafting.